Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Budgeting with B. I do have a little special guest here today. This is Collins. She is about 6 weeks old and it's nap time for her. So I'm wearing her while we get this video filmed, mom life at its finest. But I did promise you guys in my last video, my 5 tips for paying off debt fast, that I would share one of my old budgets with you guys to show you how we paid off the $33,000 worth of credit card debt in 7 months. So this video is going to be a real budget from our little black book. I like to keep budgets in like 10 different places. So along with my budgeting template that I have, I also like to keep it in hard writing. And this is just something that you can look back on and you can see. So inside of this little bullet journal, I had like all of our debt listed out. And then every time we would pay something off, I would fill in a little square, and it just kind of kept you motivated. So I am pulling out a budget from 2017. If you haven't seen my last video talking about how we paid off $33,000 worth of debt in 7 months, I will have that link down below. You guys can go check that out. It just gives some really good tips on how we managed to pay off the debt super fast. And I am going to be pulling a budget from that time span of when we were working on paying off that debt. One thing to note is during this time frame, our incomes were significantly different than they are now. This is obviously 4 years old. And yeah, these are gonna be our real numbers though. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything for you. And I'm gonna show you exactly how we budgeted our money and how we threw a lot of money towards debt. Before we jump into it, I do want to let you guys know that the budgeting template that you will be seeing me use today is the same template that I used that helped me pay off all of this debt. I have basically perfected it over the past several years, and this is a really good way to hold yourself accountable and to really start working on paying off your debt or working on your savings goals or just working on your financial foundation. A budget is definitely the #1 thing you need. So if you do not currently have a good budget and you like the way that this template is laid out, I will have a link in the description box. You guys can get 10% off with the code YouTube. There is an extended version which will link up all 12 months for you, and you just basically have to fill in your information and everything will link. Or if you just want a monthly Excel template that you can just keep updating, that is available as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this video and we will start going through this budget. So this is what the budgeting template looks like when it's completely blank. This is what it would look like if you were to download it for yourself. Everything is linked up and the formulas are pre-driven, so all you have to do is put in your data. There is also a step-by-step instruction page here. If you guys are not as familiar with Excel, then you can use this to kind of give you an idea of exactly how to use the budget. Now, this is going to be from November 2017, and I went ahead and I added in all of my numbers for our planned. So for this, we go in and we put in our plan, and this is when you are sitting down and making your actual budget, and you will plan out every single dollar. You'll give every dollar a name, and then you will go back and you will fill in your actual column, and that's whenever you will figure out if you have like extra money that you can throw towards savings or debt or wherever you might want to put it, and just get a really good layout of where all of your money went for the month. So this is November 2017. This is when we were in the depths of paying off $33,000 worth of credit card debt. And I want to go ahead and go through our different sections. So I have added together both my husband and I's income for that month. I just lump summed it together. And this is what we were looking at during that time period. So we have about $5,000 worth of income. And then this was November, so we were expecting about a $1,000 escrow refund from our home. And that was basically an overpayment to our escrow account. They do an analysis every November, and then if you have excess money in your escrow, then they will cut you a refund check and you will get that in the mail. So we were expecting to get about $1,000 from our escrow account. If we scroll down here, these are our expenses. So our mortgage at that time was about $1,000. That was 17% of our take-home pay, so not too bad. We had a water bill, electric bill, internet, TV. We had we had 2 car payments. Okay, so we both had a car payment. There was a time period where David's car was completely paid off, but that wasn't at this point. So we had the 2 car payments and then car insurance. Now, at this time, we didn't have a cell phone bill because we were still like on our parents' phone bills. So we didn't have a phone bill. And there was something else when I was making this that I was like, wow, we didn't pay for that either. Cell phone, obviously we didn't have any children, so we didn't have any childcare. And yeah, these are the bills that we were looking at. So about $1,800 roughly in expenses. And this is roughly about 30% of our income went to these expenses. So these were our needs. You guys know I like to break out my budget in our wants, our needs, and then debt or savings. So our needs were about 30% of our budget at this time. And then when we go down to our variable expenses, we have things like grocery, gas, restaurants, pets. So we do have a dog, a golden doodle. We had a puppy at this time, and then miscellaneous. So you can see we were budgeting about $300 for groceries, $130 for gas, $150 for restaurants. Like, this honestly is pretty bare minimum for what our budget looks like now, with more mouths to feed and just more income in general. But we were literally living like we were doing the bare minimum in these sections. We didn't have any play money. We didn't even have an unplanned section. That was just all miscellaneous. And we had just, you know, your bare minimum sections up here. We had 0 subscriptions. We didn't do any of those. And then we have our debt section down here. So we do have some student loans that we were paying on, and then we have all of these credit cards. And if you guys want to know how we ended up in all of this credit card debt, like I said, that is in my last video. You can head over there and check that out. But these are what this is the payment that we were planning on putting towards our credit cards. So after we had gone through and planned for our wants and our needs, and we had put in like what our actual debt payments that we owed were, we went in and we threw all of the extra money for that month at the credit cards. So these minimum payments weren't this high. Some of them might have been, but we pretty much just threw it towards all of the credit cards. So you can see that we had about $3,500 going towards debt, and that is 58% of our income was going straight to debt. And that is a substantial amount of income. I know a lot of people are not able to do that, but if you can cut back in any sections, anywhere within your budget, do it and throw it at debt, because it will pay off. Like I said, we paid this off in 7 months, which is absolutely insane. So you can see our total expenses were about $6,000, which led up to exactly what we had planned up here, which means we have a zero-based budget and we have $0 left to budget for. I do want to say that we have a beginning balance up here of about $1,000. We like to keep, at this time, we like to keep about $1,000 in our checking account at all times. So this is what our beginning balance was. And then we would have these, this income and expenses coming out throughout the month. And then at the end of the month, you can see we still have that $1,000.53. And then we also did keep $2,000 in our savings account, just as a backup for just in case anything were to happen. Okay, we're gonna move over to the actual tab now. So we're gonna see what actually happened in November of 2017 and how our budget looked. So you can see now that my actual column is filled in, and you can see the first thing is that we ended up actually having more income than we had initially planned for. So it looks like we made about $300 extra on our paychecks, and then our escrow refund actually ended up being a little bit more than $1,500 instead of $1,000. So we had an extra $856 to put into our budget. If we look at our home and life expenses, a lot of these were spot on because these were like bills that were coming in every month. So our mortgage, it was right. Our water bill looks like it was off just about 62 cents. Electric was only off a couple bucks, and internet, cell phone, and the car insurance. Those were the only things that were off. Everything else, they were spot on. if you have bills like electric, water, sewer, stuff like that, that can vary a little bit. If you take the past 3 to 6 months worth of your bills and you just take the average of that, that is a really good estimate to put on your budget and to plan for. So that is just a little tip in case you were completely lost on how you were supposed to guess what the amount will be for each bill. Once we move down into variable expenses, now we did have a little bit of fluctuation in here, and I actually have it written in my journal exactly what happened. So I'm gonna tell you guys where this money went. So groceries, you can see we went over about 50 bucks. Gas, we went over $18. Restaurants, we went over $10. Pets, it looks like we went over on Cooper, and by this amount, I'm guessing that he had a groomer appointment or something that we just didn't plan for. But we went over about $61 on him, and then miscellaneous, we went over $61. Now, I will say that these categories went over a little bit more than on a normal budget for us, because I think we did have more income here, and we were like, let's just go out to eat one more time. Let's just get these pack of cookies at the grocery store. You know, something like that must have happened, because usually we wouldn't have went over like $50 and $60 in these categories. Now, down here, this $300 of unplanned, I have it written in my journal exactly what we went over on for the unplanned category. So we actually had a tax statement come in, and we owed some taxes. So we paid this $300 towards taxes. And then on this miscellaneous section, the $61 that went over, David ended up getting a pullover through his work, and it was like a very last minute thing. And he was like, oh, we have this extra money, I'm gonna go ahead and get this pullover so I can wear it to work. So those are those two categories that we ended up going over on for this month. And I have I don't have like a breakdown of exactly where we spent the money for the month, just because this was 4 years ago and I didn't keep it as good a track like that. So I just lumped all of the categories together. But there is a variable expense log over here, and basically this is going to automatically pull into your little variable expense section down here. So what you would do is every time you spend money, if you go to the grocery store, if you were to get gas, let me just throw one in here. So let's just put gas, and let's do $25. That is automatically going to update this. It's gonna pull in here. And then this section is gonna pull in down here into your variable expense section. So that's how this section works. Your titles here would just need to be exactly the same in this section, and then also down here, and it will pull automatically for you. There's a check to make sure you're pulling everything. But this is just a good little log. Every time you spend money, every time you swipe your card, just keep a log of it here. So we have the breakdown here, and that is what is pulling over here. Like I said, we didn't have any subscription, so that is still at 0. And then we go to our debt section. So this over here, the over under budget, is gonna show us where we threw our extra money. So it looks like we threw about $350 of the extra income into debt. We did have that $300 up here for taxes, so that was a big lump of the $800 that we had extra. So we threw, like I said, about $350 extra towards debt. So we would just pick whichever one was closest to being paid off, and we would spread it out through that. You could go ahead and like throw it all towards one and pay it off. It's just up to you. It's personal preference. We kind of had a couple cards that were neck and neck, and we kind of kept them neck and neck to pay them off, just so we could keep the interest payments down, and it would be going at the same rate. So we threw $343 extra towards the debt. And we ended up paying off about $3,800 towards debt instead of the $3,500. So that was pretty good. We didn't put any extra money in savings. We kept that at the $2,000. And then as you can see, we have 0 here. So that was a zero-based budget, and we gave every single dollar a name. So that was our budget for November of 2017. We were right in the depths of paying off that $33,000 worth of credit card debt. We ended up paying it off, and then February of 2018, so we still had just a couple more months to pay that off, and we were really just throwing a ton of money at our debt. Something like this is definitely possible. You just have to set your goals and stick to it. And I have some really good tips and tricks to help you guys do that. So if you are interested in this budgeting template, I highly recommend it, especially if you are trying to pay off debt or even save. There's a great saving section in this budget as well, and it will keep you motivated and keep you on track to reach your goals and reach financial success. So I will have a link for that in the description box if you are interested. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I'm gonna have lots of different videos coming out to help you guys succeed financially, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.